We begin with two veterans and VP contenders battling out over accusations of stolen valor. Just moments from now, I should say, Senator J.D. Vance will speak in Michigan after rival Governor Tim Walz used his first solo campaign appearance to push back on Vance's claims he distorted his record in the National Guard.
I'm going to say it again as clearly as I can. I am damn proud of my service to this country. And I firmly believe you should never denigrate another person's service record. To anyone brave enough to put on that uniform for our great country, including my opponent, I just have a few simple words. Thank you for your service and sacrifice.
Vance quickly doubled down, posting online, quote, "Hi, Tim, I thank you for your service, but you shouldn't have lied about it. You shouldn't have said you went to war when you did not, nor should you have said that you didn't know your unit was going to Iraq. Happy to discuss more in a debate." NBC's Dasha Burns is following this for us. Also with us is former Republican Congressman of Florida, Carlos Curbelo, an MSNBC political analyst. So, Dasha, what's the thinking inside the Trump campaign right now about keeping up those attacks on Walz's service?
Yeah, Jose, so I'm in Asheville, North Carolina right now waiting for the former president to speak here in just a few hours. But J.D. Vance, his running mate, is keeping up these attacks, Jose, because they feel that there is some stickiness here. You've seen former President Trump, and we'll see what he does today when it comes to attacking Kamala Harris. He's been trying out all sorts of lines of attacks, hasn't quite figured out which will be most successful yet. But Vance is perpetuating these attacks on Walz, and Walz is having to respond. And that's sort of what the campaign wants, is having them a bit on the back foot, making them talk about this so they're spending less time talking about the issues. Walz having to issue statements saying that he misspoke when he characterized his service. Things like that they see as successful. And let's not forget, Jose, that a very high-level Trump advisor, Chris LaCivita, who was a co-campaign manager of the Trump campaign, has a history of these attacks. He was behind the Swift boat controversy in the 2004 campaign, attacking then candidate John Kerry on his military record. That plagued the Kerry campaign, and LaCivita seems to be trying to use the same playbook here. Now, the difference, of course, is that Walz is not at the top of the ticket. Neither is Vance, and the guy at the top of the Republican ticket dodged the draft because of bone spurs. So it's certainly a different context and a different time, but that playbook, they believe, could potentially be successful, and they don't show any signs of letting up on those attacks, at least anytime soon, Jose.
Dasha Burns in Asheville, North Carolina, I thank you so very much. So, Carlos, let's go into this aspect first of our conversation. What do you think the Trump team sees in this line of attack? Who is it geared towards?
Jose, this is all about disruption. We know where their momentum is in this race. We see it in the polls. We see it in the crowds. And obviously, since Kamala Harris came into this race, she has gotten a big boost. So what is the Trump campaign trying to do? They're trying to muddy the waters. They're trying to disrupt the Harris campaign, change the message, and put them on defense. I think to some degree it works. But to Dasha's last point, this is about the number two guys. And at the end of the day, no one is going to make their decision based on the vice presidential candidates. It's going to be about Trump versus Harris. So I know we have to cover this, and this is what the campaigns are talking about today, but I think this is going to end up being a whole lot of noise.
You know, and talking about efforts to disrupt campaigns and affect the momentum that you were just mentioning, on the flip side, the Harris campaign has been taunting the former president about big crowd sizes. The sources tell NBC News the campaign is now in talks to hold a rally in Milwaukee during the DNC next week, possibly using the same forum where the RNC was held. The size of crowds is one of Trump's major top focus points in life. How do you think he's going to be reacting? In other words, is this something that can actually disrupt that campaign?
Well, clearly they have gotten into Donald Trump's head here with this crowd size question. And by the way, Donald Trump has been pretty open and transparent about the fact that this is very important to him back since 2016 when he had his inaugural speech, his only inaugural speech. His whole emphasis was about, crowd size. So, yes, this is working, and it's actually doing Donald Trump a lot of harm. But, Jose, this is not a surprise. I mean, Donald Trump has been one of the most undisciplined candidates in U.S. history, and the Harris campaign knows that this is something he struggles with, and they're really messing with him now, and it seems to be working.
It's effective, right? I mean, it actually does get to Donald Trump.
Well, when he's talking about crowd size, he's not talking about immigration, an issue where Republicans perceive a great opportunity. He's not talking about inflation. He's not highlighting perhaps some of the more liberal elements of Kamala Harris's record as governor and senator. So, yes, this makes a whole lot of sense for the Democratic campaign.